Today I'd like to share with you how to do the checkmate practices for 5D chess. This is a game I recently discovered and I had a lot of fun playing it, so let's go ahead and jump into the practices. So I'll be doing the knight, bishop, rook and queen. I won't be doing the pawns because it's just about promoting to a queen. So first of all, let's understand how the movements in 5D chess are made. So I'll make a few random moves over here. So to illustrate example, so you can see that the knight, right? I'll just make one more. And first of all, the knight can move in the same board like a normal knight, like in normal chess. However, the knight can also move through time in this fashion. So it can move 2 in space plus 1 in space, or it can move 2 in space and 1 in time, or it can move 2 in time and 1 in space. So that is how the knight moves. So what happens when you move back in time? Let's say I branch over here. When I go here back here, I'm going to my past, right? And because the you cannot like go to the past, and then because this past has already gone further, so what you do is you create a branch in the time. So there's two time axes in 5D chess. So there's, first of all, 5D chess is two spatial dimensions. Then the third spatial dimension is not used, and then there's two time dimensions. So there's two space dimensions plus two time dimensions in 5D chess. So when you do a move like that, you branch out in time, and then the vertical one we'll call the timeline axis, and the horizontal one you will call the turn axis. So when you do this, you create a branch in time, and essentially now there's now two axes in. You can now move from this board to this board as well. So in addition to moving in the to the past like what I illustrated just now, you can also move through the timeline axis so you can move 2 in space and 1 in time like that also. And additionally, it's a good example over here, we can move 2 in time and 1 in time, and you can see that from this board to that board, the knight stays in the same position, so it moves 2 in time, 1 in time, and 0 through space. So that's how the pieces are able to be moved. That's how the movement of the pieces work. And but I I I just started this. I did all this branching just to illustrate how the pieces move in 5D chess. So now for how to checkmate, right? The key idea of the knight is to get the key idea to checkmate with the knight is to get the knight to a square that is 2 blocks away from the king. So like something like here, okay, 2 horizontally or 2 vertically. And you see the reason why is because then you in next turn you'll be able to move 2 in space and 1 in time to take the king in the previous position. So let's try to set up and find a position that is possible to pull that off. Okay, so this is an example. So you do something like that, then if I submit it, you'll see that I'm successfully checkmated. And why have I successfully checkmated? Because, I did not say before, but to checkmate the opponent in 5D chess, you need to be able to take any one of his kings, and he needs to be able to do nothing about it. So you can see that because nothing can take my knight, right? Wherever the king moves next, in the next turn, my knight is able to travel 2 in space and 1 in time to take his king. So maybe from this perspective, it's easier to see. My knight is able to move 2 in space and 1 in time to take his king. So once again, in order to checkmate the king, with a knight, you just need to get the knight into a position that is 2 blocks away from the king, like this white square over here or this white square over here, and make sure that nothing else can take your knight. So this is an example. You move over here, then you also manage to successfully checkmate because it's 2 in space and then 1 in time. So that's how you checkmate with a knight. In fact, checkmating with a knight is one of the easier ones. The bishop is the harder one. Yeah. So for the bishop, let's first make some moves to illustrate how the bishop moves in 5D chess. Okay, so the bishop moves normally like a normal piece in the normal chess for the current board. However, it can move through time as well. So it can move 1 through time So in the current board, right, you can move 1 in space, 1 plus 1 in space. So you can move 1 in x and 1 in y, 2 in x and 2 in y, 3 in x and 3 in y, right? But for the time axis, you can move um, 1 in time and 1 in space, or you can move 2 in time and 2 in space, or you can move 3 in time and 3 in space. So that's how the movement of the bishop works through time. Branching works similar, I won't be going into that. So in order to checkmate the king, you need to kind of calculate a bit more. So the bishop was one of the ones that you need a bit more practice calculating. So let me just see what I can do. Okay, so let's say I move over okay, I'll just make a few more dummy moves because I want to be sure the king is far away. Okay, so let's say I move here. Let's see if it's a possible candidate for a move. So to count where the bishop will be in if you make this move, or rather to count where the bishop can go if you make this move, you just need to count the black boards. So you can see the boards over here through the time axis, they are labeled white and black, right? So the black ones are the one you can move to, and the white ones you cannot, because currently I'm black. So to count it, if I move here, then in next turn, after white moves, I can go to this black board plus 1 square up, or 1 square in the horizontal or vertical direction. So this one can go 1 in space and 1 in time over here. It can go to this black square, or you can go 2 in space and 2 in time. So you can go this white square, or you can go 1 in time and 1 in space. So you can also reach this square, and you see that none of those actually hit the king. So we need to think a bit more. We can also target a particular king. Let's say we want to target this king. So in this move, we need to be able to hit this white square, which is 1 in space and 1 in time away from this king. So you go here, this, then you go 1 down, then you go here, and you go 1 down. Then maybe this is a viable move. If I make this move, let's calculate. So go from here to this black square over here. Then you go from here to this white square over here. You go from this white square to this king over here. So that is a checkmate move indeed. And you can see that if you click on it with the visualization, it's much easier to see. Then the bishop goes from here to this square to this square to this square, and the king is here. So you can see that no matter what the king moves in this particular board, the bishop will always be able to take the king in the past, and as long as you can take any king in the past or in the future or in the present, then you have successfully checkmated the opponent. So I'll revisit one more bishop practice later, but for now I'll go to the rook. So the rook is, I'll first illustrate how it moves through time. It moves through time in the following manner. So for the time axis, it moves through time. It stays in the current spatial square, and then it moves through time. So you can see that calculating with the rook is actually much simpler than calculating with the bishop, because when the bishop moves through time, it moves through space as well. But when the rook moves through time, it stays in the same square. So all you need to do is you need to find a square that the king was previously on, and then you park your rook right over there. So and you also need to make sure that the rook cannot be taken. So for example, we see that the king has been in this corner square. I could park it over here. However, the king can still take in the next turn. So you need to park your piece somewhere that can take the king in the past. However, that piece currently cannot be taken by the current king. So I'll still need to make a bit more arbitrary moves in order to chase the king away. Okay, the king doesn't seem to want to go away. Let's push it away a bit further. Okay, so you can see that previously the king was on this square, right? This white square. So if I just park my rook over there, then this rook, wherever the king moves, the rook can always travel through time to go to the same square it is on right now, which is the white square. So if I submit it, you can see that it's indeed a checkmate, because this rook can travel through time like this, staying on the same square spatially, and hit the king over there. So that's how you checkmate with a rook. The rook is one of the easier ones to calculate because there's no horizontal movement through space when you go through time. So for the queen is just a rook plus bishop, so there's really no reason why if you can do the rook you shouldn't be you're unable to do the queen. So if I just do this, is it a checkmate? Okay, let's first review the movement of the queen. Okay, I need to make a bit more moves first because in order to illustrate how the queen can move. Okay, so the queen can move in the following manner. So it moves it moves, let's just say it's a bishop plus a rook plus, but it's a bit more because it can travel diagonal in time, as you can see. So from here you can go to these 9 squares, you can go to these squares and these squares. So it kind of spreads out. So the calculation is a bit harder, but you can see the queen is more than just a rook plus a bishop, in fact. Yeah, so let me take a look over here. If I want to be able to check this queen, then the next move I must be in this square. Next move I must be in this square. So let's just move here to prepare for a checkmate. And if I'm not wrong, let's try what happens if I go here. So if I go over here, then in the next move I can go in the past I can go hit this square. In the past I can then hit this white square, and that is not good enough. So let me undo it. I can go over here, then that should be it. So if I can go hit this square, and in the past I can hit this white square, then I can jump to the blackboard and hit this square, black square, and then I can jump to the blackboard and hit this queen. So that should be it, and in fact I managed to checkmate because wherever the king moves next, this king is able to take the king in the past. So you can see that in 5D chess, it's not about trapping the king in the current position, but rather it's about getting your piece to a position such that it can take the king in the past. And you can see that this is a very powerful move because you cannot block such a thing when you can travel through time, right? So yeah, so queen is much more powerful in 5D chess. Let's do the bishop one more time because it was one of the harder ones to do. So let me just illustrate again how one can possibly do it. So yeah, let me just make some moves such that the king is in some vulnerable positions. So perhaps I can try, go here, maybe wait for the king to be somewhere nice. Okay, let's try to target this king. So to target this king, I need to, if I go one spatial and if I go one temporal, one through time and one through space, it'll be this black square. And go one through time, this black square, one through space, this white square. Then I go one here and one through space, which is here. And that means that in the next one, I should, if I go here, then I should be able to hit here, and yeah, so once again you can either count forward or count backwards lah. So this bishop, you move here, it can hit this black square, which can then hit this white square, which can then hit this black square, which can then hit this white square. So you can see 1 2 3 4 jumps in time, and 1 2 3 4 jumps in space. So that's how you count it, and indeed I managed to checkmate with the bishop. So yeah, so let me do one last knight for fun. So the knight is once again one of the easier ones as long as you don't screw up. So this is a checkmate move because it goes 2 in space and 1 in time. So yeah, that's it. So checkmate. Very well. So yeah, I hope that this tutorial has been fun for you to follow, and I hope it slightly increases your understanding of how 5E chess works. So if not, that's all I have for today. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more. Bye.